Okay, so we're going to go over this page first. It was the first page that says, what is volume? Practice at the top. And again, the easiest way to find the volume of just all of these random cubes stacked up is to do what? Yeah, just count the cubes. So number 1, Dom, what did you get? 12? Do you guys agree? I don't.
What?
Ellie?
12 units cubed.
12 units cubed. Okay, well you didn't say it. Is that important?
Kinda. Yes.
Okay, number 2. Lily, what'd you get? 20 units cubed, or 20 cubic units. Good job. Ethan, what did you get on number 3?
18.
18.
What number? Oh, 3?
Number 3.
12 units. Yes. Square.
Cubed.
Cube.
Yes, number 3 is also 12 units cubed. Number 4, Jake? 24 cubic units, or units cubed. Good job. Are there questions over any of those 4? You missed and you want me to help you count them? Because again, if you are very artistic, these are probably easier for you. Again, I am not artistic, so sometimes visualizing what's not there is sometimes a challenge. Okay, so if there's one of those you missed and you recount and you still can't figure out why it's that answer, let me know and I can help you. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the bottom half. Number 5, Dawson, what'd you get?
Number 5, I got 16 units cubed.
Good job. 16 units cubed. Next one, so easy it's hard. Leah? 1. There's just one block there. Raise your hand if you struggled with that one.
Let's put a question mark.
If there's just blocks stacked, you just have to count the blocks. So there's just one block, so it's 1 cubic unit.
Wait, what?
Number 6.
That was so easy.
Number 6.
That was the easiest. I didn't get it.
Aubrey, what did you get for number 7? Hey, what'd you get? How many are on the top that you can see? 8, okay, so I agree with that. There's 8 on this top section. How many on the bottom section? Because it looks like there's 1, 2, 3 groups of 12, or 3 groups of 4. So you were correct. So 8 plus 12 is 20.
Wait, that's... Whoa, I got that one wrong.
Do you see why?
Mm-hmm.
So like this would be 16, Jake, if I just did, but that would be leaving out like this chunk, those 4 right there. Dumb. Okay, number 8, Elise, what'd you get?
I got 19.
19, can you add to that? Cubic units, or units cubed. Again, those ones were a little bit trickier because there were more boxes, more that you had to figure out what was there even though you couldn't see it. Does anybody need me to work any of those 4 out? No? Okay. On the next page that you had, it told you to find the area of one layer and then multiply it by the number of layers that there were, right? So what layer can we see here, Meyer? Nope, I don't want the answer. We're going to have to show some work on these ones. What math problem did you do first? Okay, 4 times 2, because we can see the bottom layer on this one. Okay, we can see the bottom layer, and we can see that it's 4 by 2. So we are finding the area of the bottom layer, And then we have to multiply it by how many layers there are. How many layers are there? Lily? What'd you say? I think you were right. I just couldn't hear you.
2.
How many layers of 8 are there going up? 1, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 layers of 8. 8 times 6 is 48 cubic units. Number 2 was completely filled in. So you could, what layer can we see? Leo, the top or the bottom? We can see the top. Leo, what is my equation for the area of that top layer? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 times 6 is what? 12. And how many layers of 12 do we have? 2. So 12 times 2 is 24 cubic units. Questions on those two? Okay. Go up a little bit. Number 3, Dawson, what is my first multiplication problem to find the area of that bottom layer? Look at the bottom layer. So right here. Ooh. Okay, so because this side was 5, that side was 4. So 5 times 4 is 20. And again, that's finding the area of the bottom. How many layers of 20 are there, Leah? 3. If I filled up the whole thing, there would be 3. Where could I label the 3 if I want to label my picture? Ellie, where could I label my 3 if I want to label my picture?
On the side.
Yeah, I could label it here. Because I know if this was filled up, there would be 3 of them there. Okay, I could label it back there, but it would be hard to label it like in the figure. So I would choose there or even over on this side. I would not choose this side or that side back there to label it just because it's harder to see it. Okay, is that a good final answer, Leo? Why not? Because you have to have a label. What is my label? Units cubed. Number 4, Tatum, what work do I need to write? Okay, so this only, if you look at it vertically, which means up and down, how many layers are there? 1. There's really 1 layer that's 5 by 5. So for this one, you could have done 5 by 5, which is 25, and there's only 1 layer of that, so times 1, which isn't going to change it. Or if you did it the way they wanted you to, they said choose the top layer or the bottom layer. So here's the top layer. Its length is 1, its width is 5, which is 5, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those layers. We would still get the same answer, okay? So that one, if we did it the way they wanted us to, it was actually more work. Number 5, Jake. Where did you start? The top, okay? So he found the area of this top by multiplying what, Jake? 10 times 10, which is 100. How many layers of 100 were there, Ellie? 10. So times 10. Do you guys remember my trick with a bunch of zeros? Yeah, so do the mental math. 1 times 1 is 1. There's 1, 2, 3 zeros in my problem. 1, 2, 3 zeros in my answer. Cubic units. Number 6. Dom, help me out. How do I find the area of the bottom layer?
4 times 3.
Okay, so 4 times 3 is 12. And how many layers are there, Dom? 3. I'm going to label that over here. try again. You might not be able to read your own writing.
26.
What's 3 times 1? 36.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you said 26. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So 36. Sorry, I thought you said 26. Last two. Elise, help me with number 7. What layer did you start with? With the top layer. Okay, so what was your math problem for the top layer?
I did 4 times 3.
Okay, and I'm going to label that here. 4 times 3. Go ahead.
12.
Is 12. Good job. And how many layers of 12? 4. So times 4. 48. Good job. Cubic units. Hey, Dom, will you pull the door shut for me, please? Last one. Meyer. What'd you do? 1, 2, 3, 8 times 4. Okay, to find the area of the bottom, what did you get when you took 8 times 4? 32. Good job. Good job. Times 3 is 96 cubic units. Okay, before we go on, raise your hand if you've already kind of found an easier way or what you think would always work if we're doing rectangular prisms. Has anybody noticed anything yet? When we label these, I'm going to go ahead and label this 3. And I labeled that one 4 by 3 by 4. What could I call, if I'm not focusing on single layers, if I'm focusing on the entire rectangular prism, what could I call those dimensions? Again, who can remind me what are dimensions? Not different shapes.
Like the numbers.
Like a 2-dimensional shape would have height and length, and a 3-dimensional shape would have height, length, and width.
Okay, length, width, height, those are all types of dimensions. So what could we call the things that we are labeling? Ellie?
Length, height, and width.
Yeah, could we call, I'm just going to focus on number 8. Could we call this the length of the rectangular prism? Okay, could I call this the width of the rectangular prism? Could I call this the height? So does anybody think they know a formula that may always work for volume of a rectangular prism? Jake?
V, like capital B.
Capital V, you're right, equals.
Capital B, and then the lowercase h.
Okay, so he's getting technical because we gave it to him yesterday. Capital B times H. What did that capital B stand for?
Area.
Area of the base shape. What is the base shape of every rectangular prism? A rectangle. How do we find the area of a rectangle?
Length times width.
Length times width. So let's simplify Jake's fancy equation. Volume of a rectangular prism is equal to, Ellie?
Length times width times height.
Good job. Length times width times height. Length times width times height. That's what our next page is going to have us focus on. Okay, so go ahead and turn to the next page. But if you like that method, does the method you did last night work? Yes, it's not always the easiest, but sometimes it's hard to figure out the length, the width, and the height, so that may be your best option. So we're going to fill out these notes.
Are we in the word version? Which one are we on?
What's next on yours?
Volume for formula notes.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Formulas for volume notes.
Yep, formulas for volume notes is the next page, right?
This one?
Yeah. Yep. So we're going to talk about a formula. Before, we were just using kind of our common sense on what we knew about filling a box with cubes and how to count the cubes more easily rather than individually counting every single cube in the box. So on this one, fill this in as we go. To find the blank of a rectangular prism, you can blank the blank times the blank. What do you think?
Area.
To find the area of can we find area of a rectangular prism?
Find the volume.
We can find volume or surface area. So to find the volume of a rectangular prism, you can multiply the area of the base times the height. Sorry, Dom. And right here, and I know yours is a lot smaller, right? The area of base, they left out those words. The area of the base is, how do we find the area of a rectangle? Length times width. So they kind of put it in words the way Jake said it, and now they're simplifying it into the easier way. So the area of the base times the height is the actual formula, but they're saying the base is length times width, also known as the area. So volume can be found by doing what times what times what? Length times width times height. That's the important part here. Length times width times height.
Do you have to do that for homework?
Yes. Okay, so now let's talk about what that looks like. First thing you will do is, just like yesterday, pick one layer and call that the base. Because we know on a rectangular prism, really any side could be the base. But choose a side where you can see the entire side. So on this one, you have two options. Which two sides can you fully see, Ethan, on this picture?
The side and the top.
Yeah, the right side and the top. So choose one of those as your base. It does not matter. Leo, which side do you want to choose? The top. Find the length and the width of the side that you can completely see. So I'm going to look at the length up here. How long is this? 2. Label it. How wide is it, Hallie? It is 3. Now we need the height, and it's the height of the prism. So where will I look to find the height of the prism? Owen? Yeah, up and down the side. And you can put it anywhere. We could put it right here. How long is that right there? 4. Or I could put it over on this side. It does not matter. If you want to put it on both sides, that's fine. Where else can I see it, but I wouldn't want to label it? Jake?
Right. Like the corner.
Yeah, the front right corner. Why would I not want to label it right there?
Because it's not like outline.
Yeah, because I would have to put it like right here, and that's just an odd, or over there. Out here, it's kind of off the figure. Okay, so then our formula is volume equals length times width times height.
You're gonna have to do like where we do E equals.
Yes.
So when we do a volume, do we have to write out that?
I'll tell you when we get to the examples below. I'll show you exactly what I want to see. Okay, now the next step is where we're simplifying a little bit. I want you to squiggle 2 times 3. What's 2 times 3? 6. Why do you think it gave me 2 spots?
To multiply.
6 times 4.
6 times 4. So I did 2 of the math problems. 6 times 4 is 24. Label cubic units. Anytime you're doing volume, it will always be units cubed, and it's because, like if this was feet, it would be 2 feet times 3 feet times 4 feet. So our answer is actually 24 feet times feet times feet. So we just write it as like feet cubed or units cubed. Everybody have that down before we go on? Okay, down at the bottom, I will show you exactly what you're going to have to do on your homework. Using the formula, find the volume of the figure below. Anytime you're using formula, rewrite, substitute, solve. What shape do we see? Cube or rectangular prism. What is our formula for volume of a rectangular prism, Leo? V equals L times W times H. Now watch this. Who knows why I can write it like that? You can. That's 100% math legal. Hallie? Okay, not really close together, doesn't have anything to do with it, but anytime you have two variables next to each other, there's an invisible multiplication sign between them. Yes, you have to multiply. It doesn't, anytime there's two side by side, there's an invisible multiplication sign between them. So there's an invisible one there or there.
So then could we do it for base times height then?
Mm-hmm.
But we just did it?
Correct. Yep, I'm teaching you something new. Now, if you put LWH and you forget to multiply, then put in your multiplication signs. Okay, but the formula is length times width times height, but LWH means length times width times height. Because in algebra, pre-algebra, anytime you have a variable, you could even have a number right next to it. So 7x is actually saying 7 times whatever x is. So if you have xy, that's saying x, whatever x is, times whatever y is. Okay, so if you can remember that, you don't have to put the dots. If you think you need the dots, put the dots.
Is that why we do dots? Because
Correct.
now we do it.
Yes, yeah, because if you had x times y and you used an x instead of a dot, they look exactly the same.
What does X like stand for?
A number we do not know, an unknown number.
Oh,
Can we use any?
Yep, you could use any variable there.
So I'll
But-
use a different one but
Hold on, but not in the volume formula. Why in volume do we have to use L, W, and H?
because they mean like that.
Yeah, they are standing for something specific. Most of the time, an X is just a random number I do not know. It has a value, but you will learn that later on, okay? In these ones, you have to use L, W, and H. Substitute in what we know, so we have to count. Pick one layer. I'm just going to pick the top because it's easy to see. Ethan, what is the length of that top layer? 2. Dom, what is the width? 2. Leah, what is the height? 2. So I rewrote, substitute, 2 times 2 times 2. Solve. If it's an easy one like this, actually, I'm going to make you do step by, because raise your hand if you put 6. Anybody put 6? Anybody put 6?
Like 2 cubes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
exponent.
So 2 times 2 is what? Underline 2 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Because a common wrong answer there is 6. Because you see 3 2's and your brain says 3 times 2 is 6. That's not what it was asking. Okay, so I am going to force you to show that step where you multiply 2 of them, drop the third.
We have to do it every
Yes.
time.
Yep. Units cubed. Next one, rewrite, substitute, solve. I'm going to rewrite my formula. Length times width times height. Substitute in my numbers. Tatum, what is my length of this one? 6. Six. What is the width, Aubrey? 3. How do I find my height, Meyer? Yeah, I count how tall it is. So how tall is it, Meyer? It's 4, so I'm going to put that over here. I rewrote. I'm going to substitute in my values. The length was 6. The width was 3. The height is 4. Now I have to solve. First 2, what is 6 times 3? 18. Drop my times 4. You may have to go out to the side and do some scratch work. So go out to the side and do some scratch work. Ellie, what'd you get? 72. Do you guys agree? Okay. Label is units cubed. Leo.
Always would it just be 4 times 10, 4 times 8, and add it?
Could you do,
Could you do it that way?
4 times.
4 is 12, so 12 times 4 times 10, and then 4 times 8, and then add it.
Yes. Yes.
could you do, 3 times 4 times 6?
Correct. Yeah. So he's saying instead he would prefer to do 3 times 4. You would just underline it different. So if you would have done 3 times 4 times 6.
It'd be 12 times 6.
Yeah, I would have wrote, you would underline 3 times 4 and got 12 and just had 6 times 12 and still got 72.
So we could do that?
Yeah, just underline the 2 that you're multiplying. That's why I force you to underline so I can see your thought process.
Put the number under the label, under the variable. When you do it. Because there's 6 in the length, and it's under the length. Does it have to go first?
Yes, yes. Yep, I know. Just ignore them, guys. They're kindergartners.
Not my sister.
Okay, next one. Number 3. Number 3, rewrite, substitute, solve. Dawson, what's my formula?
V equals length times width times height.
V equals length times width times height. Substitute. This one looks like the first set from, or top of the second page from last night. Where can I find my length and my width? Hallie? On the bottom layer. So I'm going to label this a 4, that a 5. Now, it doesn't matter if you flip-flop the length and the width. Because depending on how you look at it, Jake might call this the length and that the width, and Dom might call this the length and that the width.
Does it really matter?
No, it does not. Okay? Where can I find the height? Leo?
If you count, you can see that there's 2 in the back, so that'd be 3.
Yeah, so you can see the 2 right there, but we know there has to be a third one under it. I'm going to go ahead and label it here. I could also label it there. So I rewrote. I'm going to substitute in what I know. 4 times 5 times 3. Do you have all this on your paper? Elise, what 2 numbers do you want to multiply together first?
4 times 5,
Okay, what is 4 times 5, Elise?
20.
20, and then we have times 3. So we get 60 cubic units.
So we have to write all of that.
Yes, you have to write all of that. You will survive, I promise. Next one, rewrite, substitute, solve. Ethan, what is my length?
Wouldn't it be 3?
3. Jake, if 3 is my length, what is my width?
Oh, I wrote this on the wrong question. 5. Oh, no. 3.
If 3 is my length, what is my width?
I wrote like this on this.
Okay,
So 5.
not 5.
4.
4. Okay, so length is 3, width is 4. What is my height, Ellie?
4.
4. I'm going to label mine over here. Again, it doesn't really matter. Rewrite, substitute, then solve. It does not matter which 2 you multiply first. Dom, which 2 do you want to multiply first?
3 and 4.
3 times 4 is 12 times 4. Tatum, what's 12 times 4? 48. 48 cubic units. Yes.
So, for number 2, can you do like 3 times 4 because you know like both times 6s? Easier
Yeah,
than 18
yes.
times
Yes.
4?
Yeah. So that's what I was saying, Leo. If you choose to multiply something besides the first 2, like you could even do the first one and the last one, just underline them to say, hey, I multiplied these 2 to get this answer, and just drop the third one. Okay? Okay, turn the page. To the back. Yep, the back, it looks different. Give me just a second and I'll get there, guys. Oop, that right there. Okay, go to the page that looks like this. Says, find the volume of each rectangular prism. They're measured in centimeters, and it says not measured to scale, which means like one side that's 4 centimeters and one side that is 8 centimeters. The 8 centimeter side isn't like twice as long in the picture. You just have to take the number that it gives you. Yes. Okay, so we're finding area of a rectangular prism. What is my formula, Leo? V equals length times width times height. So same thing, we're going to rewrite. Why are these ones actually a little bit easier? Yeah, I don't have to count the length, the width, and the height. Which ones would be my length and my width? Which ones would be my length and my width? Ellie?
6.
Look for one rectangle that you can give 2 sides of it. What do you say? 6 and 8? So I'm going to do 6 times 8. What would the height be? 4. Now this is one where it doesn't matter which ones we multiply. Which 2 you want to start with? Jake? 6 times 8. Okay, 6 times 8 is, anybody? 48. Drop my times 4. Let's do it this way. What's 50 times 4? 200.
Minus 4. No, minus
20.
No, minus 4. It's 8 because you added 2.
Because we added 2. 2 times 8 is, or 2 times 4 is 8. 200 minus 8 is 192. You cannot use a calculator, but hey guys, that's 48 times 4. That's a 2 by 1 algorithm. That does not take you very long. Yes, it's 192. 192 units cubed. I let you use calculators on surface area because it was dealing with fractions and decimals, and we have not reviewed that yet this year. You should be able to do whole number multiplication. On the IAR test at the end of the year, you will not get to use a calculator on this type of problem. So I'm not going to let you do it now when you're practicing it. No.
Yeah, you can use a calculator. Can you use any calculator?
On IAR, there is a calculator portion, but it's only like 8 questions, and you wouldn't need a calculator for probably 6 of those questions. Okay, hold on. We're going to do one more example together. Look over on the next page. How is this page different?
Because you have to divide.
No, you multiply, but it already gives the base of the bottom.
This bottom number is the what?
Area of the base.
Area of the base. I want you to write that right here. If it's inside in the middle of a shape, it's giving you the area of that shape. So that is the area of the base shape. We still rewrite, substitute, solve. You have options. I'm going to make you all do it the same today. Oops, not A. V, you have no options today. V equals length times width times height. But when we substitute,
Oh, let me just say, volume would equal 7 times height.
we can just say 56, because length times width equals 56 times, what's the other number? 6. So 56 times 6, 36. So we get 366.
Yeah, 336.
Sorry,
I was right.
336
Brain's gotta be like.
units cubed. Now, hold on. Your homework, you don't have to do all of these. On this page, I want you to do, circle them, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4 on that page. I'm going to go backwards, so just 2, 3, 4 on that page. I'm going to go backwards. I want you to do 2, 3, 4, 5 on that page. Flip back one more page. I have to flip back a lot of pages.
Wasn't the first page that we did?
Yeah, the first page that we did. Sorry, my screen just gave out. That says formulas for volume practice. I want you to do, you can mark out 1 and 2.
Don't do them.
Don't do 1 and 2. I want you to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can mark out 1 and 2. So on the page that says formulas for volume practice, the first page that we took notes on, just do the last 6 on that page. Okay, so how many altogether, Ellie? 13 altogether. Rewrite, substitute, solve. Every single one of them should start with what?
V equals L8.
Length times width times height. V equals length times width times height. You guys can go ahead and go. Have a good day.
Oh, have a good day.